Hi guys, welcome back. If you saw last week's video, you will know we're taking a little break from the shopping Sundays. And I do feel that it should note that's not because I'm scared to go to the shops. We talked a lot about the coronavirus in the previous one. I'm not avoiding the shops. In fact, this weekend, as you watch this, providing they're still open, anything can happen. I'm filming this week out. I'm getting constant news updates on my phone. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like everything shuts down. But providing they're still open, we will be in Meadowhall. The weekend that you're watching this, so I'm really not worried about it. That's not why we're doing this. But I am on a no-buy until Easter, and so just to help perpetuate that and to make it less difficult for myself, I'm just taking a couple of weeks off going to Meadowhall. And so here we are. We're doing a Q&A. So I did the first half of the questions in that last video, and I also did this makeup. If you're interested, go and check that out. And now we're going to go through the next lot of questions. I've got them all on my phone. It's from an Instagram question poll thing. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you should. I'm a very different person on Instagram. Not so much, but I'm like vloggy. Really into stories now. Didn't used to be, but I quit Twitter, and that freed up a lot of time. What is the one product, makeup, skin, or body care that you could not be without? Okay, so I was actually thinking of doing a video of like what 5 products would I repurchase like for that. And this is like the beginning of the research phase of that video. What is the one product, makeup, skin, or body care that you could not be without? Are we looking for specific product or just like product type, like that category of products, like moisturizer? I mean, if we're including skin and body care, then we're going to have to include a moisturizer. I'm probably going to say an oil, because an oil could be used for so many different things. I could not remove makeup because there's no makeup involved, but I could like cleanse with an oil, but then I can also treat with an oil. I can put oil on my hair. I'm going to say an oil, a facial oil specifically, but if I can get like a broader one that works for facial oil I would still use on my hair. But a facial oil, I think, yeah, facial oil is where I'm going to go. And I am an oily person. It's not like I'm super dry, but I do think that is like a magic thing to have in your skincare arsenal. Would you get another dog? Which breed? So Manny right now is sitting. I've put all of the blankets I've just washed. I just threw them on the sofa because I was in the middle of cleaning, and then my mom invited me to lunch with my brother's new girlfriend, who I haven't met yet. She's here from Mexico. It's very exciting. And I thought I'd better film this stuff this morning, and I've kind of just like dumped a bunch of things that I was doing to film. And so towels, blankets, and he's just like, oh, you've made me a bed. No, they were all clean, and they all smell like him all the time. I have to wash them constantly. In other news, the answer to the question, would I get another dog? Yes, I would get another dog, but I don't know if we're going to have 2 dogs at once. So hopefully it's going to be a long time until we get another dog. We have discussed a future dog, and I think we are interested in staffies, because there's plenty of them that need rehoming. They definitely have a similar vibe to a French bulldog. Really pretty faces. I think my grandma's had Staffordshire Bull Terriers all of my life. I think they're really nice dogs. And it's just very, very similar in both temperament and like the way they move and everything to Manny. And because we know there are so many that need rehoming, I think we've kind of settled on that. Anything could happen, who knows? But that's what we've discussed. And because by that point the kids will be older, I know you should always like rescue if you can, but it did make me nervous for our first dog to rescue a dog. Whereas now the kids are older, I absolutely 100% would. And also, maybe we will get 2 dogs. I don't know. But that is kind of where we're at. Would you have any more tattoos? Yes, I would. I'm not 100% sure what I would have yet. I'm very impulsive. If you've seen my tattoo videos, you will understand. I'm not someone who thinks a lot about these things. I live to regret some decisions because of this, but yes, I would have more tattoos. I've often thought, oh, let's do this. And then I've just not done it. But I'm not like currently burning to have something specific done. I just had to move my cup because I had it on this table a second ago. It like stuck to the table, like melted the paint a little bit. Not ideal. What does your mom and dad think of you doing YouTube? That's not a question I've had for a really long time. Do you know, funny story. When I first started YouTube, I used to get that question all the time. Also, I've got swatches on my hand. This, by the way, this is the lipstick I'm wearing right now, which is Heroic from MUA. It's this super stylo. And I thought it was really similar to MAC Faux. It's not that similar. This is Heroic and that's Faux. Faux is more like of a mauve. But I know this a million miles away, and I really like these super stylos. I think they are really, really good lipsticks. And I think they're like £3. They were sent to me, by the way, but ages and ages and ages ago. I'm still using them. I really like them. Yeah, years ago when I first started YouTube, almost 10 years ago, I used to get this question. I used to get the question, where's your bed? When I either did a room tour or you could see the room behind me, people would ask, where's your bed? Second question, why do your parents allow you to have a room for makeup in your house? And I think probably it was because I looked younger than I was. Also, there weren't a lot of grown-ups, by which I mean like adults in the world outside of their parents' houses or university, college, whatever, that were doing these kind of videos. And it just seemed to baffle people. That was a question that I got almost daily. Like, why are you, like, how has this come to be? Why are your parents allowing you to do this? I lived by myself. Well, not by myself, but I lived with my family. It was crazy. At the same time, talking of like youth and whatever, at the same time, I lived in a relatively affluent area. We were renting, but we lived in a very affluent area. Not very, but you know, it was, I mean, it's not even, looking back, I kind of like excused this woman for this reason. But really, looking at it now, it wasn't like beyond crazy that we could have lived there. I mean, that's the plan, to move back to that area. It's just, I just think that at the time I tried to excuse this woman's behaviour as that. But I was pregnant with Milo, or I just had Milo, I can't remember. And Ella was in primary school. She must have been, well, she was 6 when he was born, so she might have been like 5 or 6 at the time. So she will have been like early on in school, like maybe reception. And let's say I'd had Milo, and this mum started talking to me, who seemed nice enough. I've never, ever been the person who goes to school. I go to school, I stand by myself, and I wait for my children. I do not have school friends. I do not have, like, I'm not the cliquey schoolgate mum. I don't have any, like, there are a couple of people that I'll talk to, but I'm not in a gang at all. Never, never, never. Even the second time around with Milo, I'm not that person at all. Which is crazy because I love to talk to people, but I think it's the thing of initially like breaking into something like that. A group of women together is the most intimidating thing to me in the entire world. I will not walk up to, like, one woman, maybe, if we were standing next to each other, like, I'll make small talk. I'll talk to people on trains. It's not like I'm not a social person, but a group of women together is like just the scariest thing. Probably is like a hangover from school. Anyway, so this woman said to me, who do you live with? This is the longest winded story I've ever told. Who do you live with? And I've told so many people about this in recent years. And everyone seems to have a different response. But the majority of people are like, I don't understand. And honest to God, as she was saying it, I didn't understand what she meant. And I answered and I said, my husband. I was just like, my husband and my children. And later I realised she thought either I was crazy young. And I mean, I was young to have Ella. I was 19 when I had her. So I was younger than most of the mums in the schoolyard. But and even now I start to think, like, was it a protective thing? Did she think I was in a bad situation? No, I don't think she did. I think it was just judgment. I think she thought, you can't possibly have had a baby at 19 and got it together to live by yourself, got married and had another baby. I do think it was 100% judgment. I'm only like 26 at this point. Was I? Yeah, if she was 6, I was, well, 25, 26. I was 26 when I was born. Oh man, it's confusing. Anyway, yeah, that was how did we get on to that subject? Oh, what does my mum and dad think of me? Okay, that was a reach. Yeah, I do just kind of think back to that. And I have always, I don't hate it now. Now I'm in my mid-30s, I'm cool with it. But in my mid-20s, I hated looking young. I hated it so much. Nobody took me seriously. Now I feel like I'm in my prime in terms of I don't necessarily look my age. I'm not having it. I will not accept it. I think I still probably can pass for slightly younger than I am, depending on the context in which you meet me. But I like people to know how old I am, and I think that when I speak, people listen. And 10 years ago, that wasn't the case, and I felt just ignored and invisible, and I hated it. So, yeah, that was a really, really random story. We're like 3 questions in, and we're 10 minutes. So, my mum and dad, what did my mum and dad think of YouTube? It seems like such a bizarre question since I'm 34 years old, but I guess because we live in a house with my parents, it is a relevant question. I don't think they think anything. It's just a job. For sure, there's been achievements that they've been really proud of for me, or proud of me for. Initially, my mum thought it was nuts. She can't remember that now, but she definitely did. She thought it was totally crazy. But once something becomes even remotely successful, then I think people can get on board. Initially, anything like this is like, why? Like, what are you doing? And then once you can show some kind of, no, I've done this and now this has happened, or I've done this and I've achieved this, or now I've got this opportunity, then people start to go, oh, okay, this is legitimate. And it's been 10 years. I'm trying to ignore all the spam questions. If you had £200 already, I'm excited. If you had £200 to spend on one premium beauty counter, which one would you choose? Ooh. That is a great question. Okay, so my initial thought was NARS. Purely because I love NARS packaging. I love the whole vibe. I don't really ever spend money at NARS because it's expensive. And I always am like, oh, there's something about it that's exciting. I also really like the lip products. So NARS is one option. I'm thinking. Tom Ford lipsticks are fantastic. I've only ever had one. I'm really struggling to think of like really high end. Oh, Becca. Oh, Becca stuff is really nice. And what are we calling high end? Because I'm currently really lusting after a new IT Cosmetics CC cream. I used my current one the other day for the first time in ages and was like, oh, this is so good. It's too dark for me right now, but it's such a good foundation. I'm like totally discounting like all the basics like YSL and stuff. I think I'm going to need to think more about this. I'm going to need to like go into a shopping haul and just like look around, and then immediately I'll be like, oh, this is what I want to spend my money on. This is the thing. I can't think off the top of my head. NARS is always the thing that makes me excited to go and look. But we're getting more and more beauty counters, and so maybe that'll change. I don't know. It depends on what I was wanting to buy. I do like NARS. I do. What have been your previous job roles? Wow. Okay. I'll see if I can go really quickly because I've had a million different jobs. I don't know what's going on with this piece of hair. Apologies. I know hair touching is really annoying. I'm going to sit on my hands. Okay. So, start at 14. Paper round. And then I worked in a restaurant while I was at school. And then after school, I went to work in a sports shop. And then immediately from the sports shop, I worked in Subway. And then after the Subway shop, I worked for like a few hours I went back to college and I worked for a few hours in a double glazing telesales thing, a call center. Terrible. I then left college, or while I was still at college, I worked in a call center. Left college, worked full time in the call center. I worked there for a really, really long time, like 7 years. Left there, that is when I started YouTube. Because I was out of work for the first time in my life and had nothing going on. And so I found a hobby. That was this. Was constantly looking for work, found a job, was obsessed with a job in a bridal shop that I like interviewed several times for. It was like so far away, not enough money. I just really wanted to work in the bridal shop. That hit me really hard that I didn't get that job. Next job I got was I worked in a recruitment firm, but I worked for the job centre getting people work experience. And it was really, really difficult because people weren't insured for grown-ups to do work experience for free. It was very difficult to find people free work placement after a certain age. And I ended up working with a theatre in London, didn't know anywhere in London, and mispronounced Southwark a lot. It's like South Wark. It was embarrassing how little I knew. I had to like find their like path on the tube and stuff to get them there as well. That was quite interesting. Not a million miles in that capacity to what I do right now. What else did I do? So after that, I was a manager on counter at Urban Decay. Never worked for a makeup company before, never worked on counter, never managed anything or anyone. And yet somehow I walked into that job, which I found through Gumtree. Weirdest of my life. And then after that, oh no, in the middle there, I worked for Frankie and Benny's. I worked at Frankie and Benny's for a minute, possibly before I got that recruitment job. I worked at Frankie and Benny's. Then I got the job, I worked at the place that I'm working at now, part-time, and I was helping out, didn't get an interview, was going to be working there for like 3 weeks, because I was just like, I hate this job at Urban Decay. It was really, really hard. Like, really tough. The hours were crazy. I was working till like midnight. It was nuts. And getting calls on like when I wasn't working because I was the manager. It was just not fun. It was not, I couldn't do the job. So I just wanted to leave. And I'd also been trying for Milo at that point, and that was really stressing me out because we were trying for a year and got nowhere. And literally the week I left that secure job and went to work as a temp, pretty much that week I got pregnant. And so then when I did leave there, I got statutory maternity pay, which is pennies. Not great. So I worked there. I was supposed to work there for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and I ended up working there for like 9 months because the main boss went off with stress and then just left. He was a very, very angry person when I was like lots of slamming the phone. And then then I was left, when that boss left, then I was left with 2 women. It was just 3 of us. And the other 2 women spoke French, and they just spoke French all day. And I was just there like, cool. And then other people came in and it was not so bad. And then I left after 9 months, and then they asked me to come back after a little while. So like I took kind of my 6-month maternity leave, which I just left. And then they asked me to come back again as a temp, which I did. And then that part of the business got made redundant, moved somewhere else. And we were going to leave, and then myself and Joanne, that I still work with now, were offered a job share. So we both worked part-time, and we decided that we would like split this job up as a permanent staff thing. So we did that, and then we did something else, and we moved on to something else, and now I did like annual leave for train drivers, and now I work in diagramming, which is basically splitting up jobs for train drivers, and it's all kind of like a puzzle. Difficult to describe. I mentioned it in my previous Q&A. So they are the jobs I've had. Lots. And I always think I'm probably forgetting some, but lots of different jobs. Okay, would you consider going full-time on YouTube if you were made redundant? So this was up for discussion recently. I did mention at Christmas time we were told that our jobs weren't safe. Now this week, or last week, because I'm filming this in advance, we were told that our jobs are safe, so perfect. But to answer your question, no. I have talked about this a lot. I don't think that I would feel comfortable doing it. Now, I don't hate the job that I've got right now. I like it. It's familiar. I like the people, and that plays a part in that. Now, if I had a job that I hated, I probably would answer that differently. I would probably do everything in my power to make this a full-time job. Right now, I do not earn consistently every single month enough to justify this as a full-time job, and I do not think that putting full-time hours into it will put my money up that much. I think right now I'm kind of like in a sweet spot of being able to dedicate 2 days a week to doing this. Potentially less in the future. I may go full time. We'll see. But I don't think I'm ever going to feel completely confident that I could pay my bills with this, because week by week, month by month, it's completely different. Right, my camera just ran out of memory, or my card just ran out of memory. So I think that's probably a good time to stop. I think we've been talking for too long. I'm going to do a part 3. I've decided, because we've got more questions, and I'm going to go through them all. So if you're interested in this kind of video, apparently we're doing this regularly. It's just, I'm really trying to stay away from the shops, guys.